Hello, third graders, and welcome to another edition of Music with Mr. Mundt. This one's for recorders. And before we get started, don't forget the three-step Mr. Mundt method for practicing. Step one, say it. So if it's a quarter note, it gets one beat and we say ta. If it's a half note, it gets two beats and we say ta. And if it's a dotted half note, it gets three beats and we say ta. And of course, if it's a whole note, it gets four beats and we say ta, right? Step two is to sing the notes and show the fingering. Okay, so remember, like if we're singing B, we're gonna hold here. If we're singing A, we're gonna hold here. And G, three fingers. So yeah, let's go over the notes. The first piece, All Alone, is just the note B. Make sure you're using your left hand thumb and left hand pointer finger covering the top hole and the thumb hole. Did I already say I left my recorder at school, so I can't get to it, but hopefully you have yours. And now, B is the third line on the staff, right? Every good band, and you play it like this. A is thumb and two fingers, and A is in the space because the spaces spell face. So that second space, F-A, is thumb and two fingers. And then G is thumb and three fingers. And that's on the second line, every good band, that's fine. Now, the fingering charts look like this. A B has you covering the thumb and first finger. A, thumb and two fingers, and G, thumb and three fingers. So for this video, we're just going to be working with those three notes. And you're about to hear All Alone, which is just the note B. And what I really want you to practice, after you do the three-step Mr. Mundt method, notice that it starts with a P underneath the music. That stands for piano in Italian, which means play very softly. And then later in the piece, you'll see the letter F. That means forte, which normally means loud, but we know with a recorder, if you blow hard into it, it sounds hideous. So we just play normally when we see the F. Okay, so practice that, and don't forget, you'll see a number 2 with a big black line in the beginning, and that means 2 measures of rest. So we're in 4/4 time, which means the top 4 means we get 4 beats per measure. The bottom 4 means a quarter note gets 1 beat. So if we're gonna wait for 2 measures, that's 8 counts. So when the music starts, kind of think in your head, rest, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, ready, play. Okay, and then when it starts. And feel free to go back and play these over and over again until you really get them. I think I put the music for each piece twice, but feel free to go back. All right, so why don't you try All Alone and see how you do? right, I hope that went well. And now we're going to move on to Starburst, which adds the note A. Notice this one is also in 4/4 time, and it starts with 2 measures of rest. This time, though, it starts forte, which means we play normally. Then look in the middle, it goes to piano, play very softly, and then it goes back to forte. See how you do. All right, so our last piece today is Song of the Sea, and this one's really fun because it's in 3/4 time. As you know, the top 3 means 3 beats per measure. The bottom 4 means a quarter note gets 1 beat. So each measure has 3 beats, and they call this a waltz, 3 beats per measure. That feel of a waltz in 3/4 time gives you this kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 feeling back and forth. So Song of the Sea is an appropriate title, kind of makes you think of the waves. So this one adds the note G, and don't forget about that dotted half note, which gets 3 beats. So make sure you use the 3-step Mr. Mundt method and practice, especially that first couple measures that go B, A, G, A, B, A, G, A. If you can really get that down, you've got most of the piece. I also wanted to point out a couple of things with Song of the Sea in the music. After the 2 measures of rest, in the beginning, you'll see we play 8 bars of music, but then there's a repeat sign, which looks like this. That means go back to the beginning and play it all again. But this time, when you get to the repeat sign, keep going all the way to the end. And at the end, you'll see DC al fine. In Italian, that means del capo to the end, al fine. So what you do is you go back to the beginning until you see the fine sign, which means finished. So when you get to the very bottom of the page, just go back up to the top, play it one more time, and at that repeat sign, you'll see fine. That's where we end. And this one also has 2 measures of rest before we start playing. But we're in 3/4 time, so we're not going to wait for 8 counts. We're going to wait for 6 counts because each measure has 3 beats. 3 plus 3 is 6. So don't get fooled by that. Think rest, 2, 3, rest, 2, play, okay? So have fun, and I'll see you next time with a brand new note and song for Recorder. Stay healthy, happy, and safe.